Right, chaps, let's soldier on to our next one. Iceman Beauty from you. Do you go down the Jota option, or is he Molyneux on a spend? John Chappell has asked thoughts on Jota, bandwagon or the real deal. An entry abroad on the Slack channel. Is Jota an option or just a knee jerk after he bagged a hat trick? He's got 5 goals and 2 assists in his last 5 games. Could he be a differential for Wolves instead of Jimenez? He was Wolves' top scorer last season. That's it. So, J&O, Jota, are you knee-jerking to him? Is he the real deal, or is it a little bit sort of premature and it's all going to go quiet?
Well, I think a lot of us at the beginning of the season all were like, Diogo Jota looks like a really good option. And I think everyone at some point at least had him in their draft sides. I did go with him for the start of the season. It was a bit infuriating because we expected so much. The way I see it is a very impressive performance in Gameweek 23. But I was like, is it a knee-jerk? So I looked back to before he stopped playing, and that was Gameweek 15 to Gameweek 17.
Yeah.
And there he got 2 goals from 4 attempts on goal, 4 from inside the box, 3 on target, created 2 big chances, which also got him 1 assist.
He got 2 assists, didn't he?
Huh?
Got 2 assists.
Did he? I could have read it wrong off the site.
I found the exact same
range.
And, yeah, and I was like, he's got 2 assists. I've got it written down here. Hold on.
Well, I'll keep talking while you check that out.
Yeah, but, 16, 17, he got an assist.
Oh, okay, cool. Then I've clearly just written my notes down wrong. But yeah, he had a good performance in that game week range as well. So he is a player that can clearly do this more than once for a couple of game weeks. And a lot of it came to balance because, and I know there's been quite a lot of talk on Twitter about it, if you have Jimenez, should you bring in Jota? And then people are like, well, if you have Jimenez, that isn't going to affect how many points Jota gets. But I've had a period where I had 3 Wolves players and it kind of didn't go that well for part of the season. So I'm not sure I want 3 Wolves players again. So while they offer value, I'm not sure I can really bring in 3 Wolves players. But Jota, I'd say if you don't have Jimenez, is a perfectly good way into that side. And it's still completely possible if I find out that Wolves are one of the teams that are going to benefit from the blanks and double game weeks. Jota could come in and I could triple up, but I don't like tripling up on sides that aren't Liverpool, Man City, the big sides. So for me, I wouldn't say it's knee-jerk because I think there is data there to suggest that he could do it, but I still think there's a bit of a feeling of a punt there as well.
It's the fixtures which really is appealing. I mean, I've had 3 Wolves players for a while now. I've just been rotating between Patricio and second keeper, and Doherty's been on the bench occasionally, and I've had Jimenez up front. He's been very consistent. But yeah, I think you're right with that. I wouldn't necessarily want to double up in the attack. So you'd kind of want to start them at that price range. It's not easy to bench them, but the reason why people were getting on Jota at the start of the season, he got the 17 goals in the Championship last season, so like I say, he has got the pedigree. He's kind of started his campaign now, but bearing in mind he did miss out through injury, like you said, through game weeks 18 and 21, but he is playing further forward than Jimenez at times. And the same thing in game weeks 15 to 17, if my stats are correct, 2 goals, 2 assists. But it's like he was just hitting form. He's just started in a way. I thought I'd take a look at the stats over the last 4 that he's played in, excluding the City game because they never really stood a chance there because Bully got the red card. And to be honest, they're not really convincing, these stats. They're not bad, but they're not great. Over the last 4, he got the 4 attempts in the Leicester game where the Leicester defence was awful, 1 attempt in the Bournemouth game, 2 attempts in the Newcastle game, and 1 attempt in the Chelsea game. So 8 attempts in the last 4 isn't bad, but yeah, not great. All in the box though. I mean, I looked at the other players who have got 8 attempts or more in and around that price range, and Richarlison, I know he's 6.8, but he's got the 11 attempts over the last 4. McNeil for Burnley, 4.4 with the 11 attempts. Delafeu, 5.5, 10 attempts, and Damari Gray with 9. So I thought I've got to look a little bit more in depth on this. And I checked against the previous 4 game weeks for Jota, and it was only 4 attempts, the same as the previous 4 game weeks before that as well. So it obviously seems to be lately that he's getting going. So he's improved on his shot. So I thought, well, maybe chances created might be different, but only 3 chances created over the last 4, excluding the City game, and that's the same as the previous 4 and the previous 4 before that. So I suppose it's most will have Jimenez at the moment, and I don't think the double up is worth it in attack because they've only got 27 goals this season, and that's lower than 4 teams that are below them. And only 2 more than Brighton and Southampton. So I suppose if you've got the transfers, maybe you could do Jimenez out and Jota in if you find a better option up top. But, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. Jimenez has been so consistent. And Stato mentioned to me about the XG. He's got a small cock, Stato. They are both basically the same for XG 90 and XA90. However, Jota's going to get the 1 extra point for the goal and the 1 extra point for the clean sheet. And Jota is 0.6 million cheaper. But yeah, like I say, Jimenez has been more consistent for me. He does seem to be nailed Jota, but yeah, as a Jimenez owner myself, I'm not going to do it quite yet.
Just to add as well, we're both right, kind of, because the second assist is a fantasy assist.
Oh, okay. No, you've got me out on a technicality, have you?
Well, no, I just thought I'd have a look, and I've realised what my mistake was. I looked at just distribution statistics, and of course that doesn't count.
Okay, yeah,
the fantasy assist.